In on this, two sheriffs who have been on the front lines of the border crisis. Sheriff of Pinal County and U.S. Senate candidate from Arizona, Sheriff Mark Lamb, and retired Border Patrol agent and Sheriff of Terrell County, Texas, Thaddeus Cleveland. Great to have you both with us here. Sheriff Lamb, I want to get your reaction first. What's interesting is watching that video is crazy. I mean, it's hard to imagine, as we've been saying, that that's actually happening here in the United States or just south of our border. But even more so, I think about this White House, who continues to blame Republicans, who continues to blame former President Trump for all of the border problems that they themselves have created. How do you explain this? How do you wrap your head around it?
Well, I can't wrap my head around it because I don't think like they do. I think like a common sense American who says, this is enough. We've had enough. And frankly, if they keep going down this route, I wouldn't be surprised if American citizens rallied and showed up to our border, because we're not going to tolerate this. This government may tolerate it and go after American citizens for breaking the law. But when you don't hold any of these people accountable for doing this, for putting our people at risk, that's a shame. And furthermore, we would have probably seen a lot more violent interactions like this. The Border Patrol is spread so thin that, frankly, they're not even out there in most places. And because they're busy processing thousands of people, we probably would have seen something violent like this long ago. But I think you're only going to see it get worse and worse, just like Jason said.
Sheriff Cleveland, this border crisis created by Biden, it wasn't like this when he inherited this border here. I applaud the Border Patrol agents down there yesterday that they didn't use some type of force, deadly force potentially here. People could have been killed yesterday. The border agents being stampeded and beaten. You don't know who's in that crowd. They could have used deadly force to protect themselves from being stampeded. So what I'm getting at here is kudos to them. But if somebody gets killed, and it may only be a matter of time here, this falls on Joe Biden. It has to.
You're 100% right. That blood will be on this administration's hands and President Biden's hand. Look, I spent 26 years protecting and defending this border. I grew up along the border. I've spent my entire life, other than my time in the U.S. military, on this border. What we're seeing now is just, what's going to be the last straw? And to your point, what's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back? I have to admit, the previous four administrations, both Republican and Democrats, they furthered border security. They all contributed to the border fence and technology and infrastructure. This administration has completely dismantled everything that we had when President Trump left office.
Sheriff Lamb, how do you think this will factor into SB 4, which we know has been held up after the Supreme Court pushed it to lower courts? Do you think this will help it actually pass, to show that people in Texas, law enforcement, should be able to arrest illegal aliens?
Yeah, it should, because what we're trying to solve is not immigration. First of all, immigration is not in the Constitution. Naturalization is in Article 1, Section 8. It gives Congress authority over setting a uniform for naturalization. Immigration came from the Supreme Court and other judges. So now they're playing pickleball with this immigration issue. But Texas and Arizona, we're not trying to say we want to fix immigration. What we're trying to say is we want to protect our borders. And this video should go to strengthening the case that Texas has, saying, look, we're being invaded and you got to let us do something about it.
Sheriff Cleveland, this is it here. To migrants, ransack the border, go straight through, and you're not going to face any consequences here. To Jason Jones' point, who just gave us a report, they're through. They're in now. They're being processed here. So it's only a matter of time before this happens again. At least that's the way I'm seeing it.
Jason's actually been flying out here in my county this past week, supporting Operation Lone Star. And I'll tell you what, if we were to see anything like that in our county, we're going to arrest people. We're going to charge them for criminal mischief, criminal trespass. We will not let them go free. And then to Sheriff Lamb's point under SB 4, look, that's going to give us even more power, another tool in the tool belt, where we can make those apprehensions and we can send people directly back to Mexico if they so choose, or if they don't, then they'll be prosecuted under the law here in Texas.
What's scary is I think this is a foreshadowing of what's to come here with this spring surge everybody's talking about. Joe Biden has tried to get more money in this next budget for instances just like this, because he knows it's happening, because that's the way it is down there at the border. Sheriff Mark Lamb, Sheriff Cleveland, appreciate you coming on. Thank you.